For students going to college, the cost of higher education remains a huge burden. This applies to the cost for graduates, but also the costs that keep many students from getting their degrees. One organization trying to help with a focus on urban students is Bottom Line here in Massachusetts, and we'd like to welcome the Massachusetts Executive Director, Mike Wasserman. Thank you very much for being with us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First of all, we heard a little bit about this from the president, and certainly over the last year or two, we've been hearing a lot of pain out there for these students.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are talking more and more about the debt that they're leaving with, right? And you've seen that the average debt that a student leaves college with has grown from $20,000 to $29,000 over the last few years. I mean, I think the thing to keep in mind is that there is still no better investment that you can make in future earnings in a career than a college degree. But I think what's different is that students and families need to make more of a buying decision than they used to.
And as far as what's causing this debt burden, where is it? Is it just the cost of education?
Yeah, I mean, it's that I think what you're seeing, you know, even in public colleges, is that less and less as a percentage of tuition is covered by states, and so more of that burden is put onto students. And across the board, so just the price tags are going higher, and so it leaves more of that cost going into debt, whether it's both federal loans or private loans. Students are making, you know, they're just paying more for the same education. Well,
I know it's one thing to come out of college and have this large debt burden, but what about the students who have trouble finishing? I know you've probably worked with a lot of students like this.
Yeah, I mean, at Bottom Line, that's really our goal, because if you look at a city like Boston, of all the students that actually make it to college, more than half are dropping out without earning a degree. You know, and that's the real challenge that I think we don't talk about enough, is that students are going, we talk about it in elementary school, middle school, that, you know, a college degree is the path to prosperity. But we, in many ways, leave them there to kind of flail on their own, and they're dropping out with debt but no degree. And so, you know, our focus is on making sure that students have that support network, that they're able to have knowledgeable guides, knowledgeable adults that help them through the academics, through their life challenges, through that career development, you know, all of the pieces beyond financial aid that have a role in whether you succeed.
What about those other challenges? Because, for instance, I think it might be improving, but I think it's still very much the case. Students coming out of the Boston Public Schools, they have some catching up to do.
Yeah.
When they start college.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. You know, whatever level you're going to in college, you know, I think the students from a school like Boston, or really any urban school, you know, often are behind their suburban peers. You know, they haven't had that same kind of college prep curriculum. They haven't had that same culture. And so, you know, really what we focus on at Bottom Line with our students is making sure that they are able to push themselves forward by introducing themselves to professors, going to office hours, accessing the writing center, tutoring. I mean, it is hard. I mean, you can often get to school and feel like, you know, I don't belong here, and that's not the case. It just means that there's extra work that a Boston student has to do to catch up in a short period of time.
And I imagine some of it is that you're taking challenging courses, but you might be in a class with a large number of students, and some of them are okay with that, but for other people, that can be difficult.
Yeah, and you know, especially when we're talking about affordable schools and making sure that you can pay. I mean, we really are believers in Bottom Line in the public college system, you know, state universities, but you are going to find larger classes, and that's where, you know, you have to make your own experience. You know, in that class, in that lecture, you're just going to be a face in the crowd, but it's by going after hours, introducing yourself to the professor, that you can change that experience. I mean, because those are very talented professors, they just can't give everyone the attention that a student coming to school might need.
Anything you can say, at least about the students from around Boston, that you've been able to show that is working?
Yeah, I mean, for Bottom Line, we're working with about 2,400 students across Massachusetts. We're helping them get into college. We're staying them throughout. And I think what we see that really makes a difference is when students have a knowledgeable guide, someone that's going to walk them through the process. I mean, that's what makes it such a challenge when a student's parents haven't been through college before, they don't speak the language, is that, I mean, they need to seek out that mentor, that knowledgeable adult that's going to help them navigate what is often a really complicated system. I mean, that's the role that we play for students in Bottom Line. But even without Bottom Line, just to have someone that's advocating for you so that when you go to a financial aid office and say, you know, this financial aid bill is incorrect. I have a scholarship. It hasn't come yet. I mean, that's hard to do on your own as an 18, 19-year-old. And so to have someone there with you, helping you self-advocate, that really makes the difference in a lot of situations.
Are there any policy changes that you'd like to see or that maybe are taking place right now that you think will make a difference?
Well, I think one of the things that we just started to hear about was that colleges that receive Pell money, federal funds.
These are the grants to students who have some certain amount of need.
Exactly. So if you're a low-income student, the government is going to pay a school a certain amount for you to go there, and it discounts it for you. And so schools have to report on their graduation rates. They have to say, if we're receiving federal money, how are we doing at actually turning out graduates? And if our graduation rate is 20, 30%, people need to know that. And I think that's an important first step in making sure that schools are held accountable for being institutions that don't just take students in and earn money, but actually are putting out graduates that have learned something that are employable. And I think that connection of education to careers is something we're focusing on a lot more now.
Well, if there's anybody who'd like to find out about what you're doing and if maybe they can come to you for some help, is there a way they can track you down?
Yeah, absolutely. Students that are interested can join our program either as juniors in high school when you're starting to think about the college process, and also as seniors in high school when you know that you're about to head off to school. And they can come to our website, bottomline.org, and there's a large orange Apply Now button. And our program is free for students. They just have to apply online. We'll follow up and we'll start working with them right away, one-on-one, through that entire process, both in high school and in college.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mike Wasserman from Bottom Line, and we'll have more news in just a moment.